It'll be Soler, followed by Golden and Gonzalez at the top. And then the middle third, Maggie, the only lefty in the lineup, followed by Murray and Heidelberg. And then the bottom third of the Tri-State lineup, Xavier Rivera, Sam Winsett, and James Henshaw. Henshaw making his Tri-State debut here this evening. The Greenville Flyboys, managed by Jack Wilson, set their lineup with Reed Hare in center field leading off. Hare is one of two lefties in the Flyboys order. Danny Wallace, the graduated high school ball player out of Nebraska, in right field batting second. Ezra McNaughton is the designated hitter. The cleanup hitter is Cameron Kim, and he's at third base. Jace Patton is the shortstop. Dylan Jackson at first base, batting sixth. Grant Hunter is in left field. He bats seventh. Brady Francisco is the catcher. And rounding things out for the Flyboys, at second base is Peyton Miller. The pitching matchup in this game, the Flyboys turn to left-hander Kyle Body. Body played a couple seasons at Oklahoma State, is now committed to San Diego, and he had a fantastic start in Burlington last weekend, spinning 4 shutout innings for the Flyboys. Body, over 20 innings on the season. He's allowed 7 earned runs, 18 hits, 10 walks, and 23 strikeouts. Given the competition, Body's best start was 6 days ago against the Burlington Sock Puppets. This will be his 6th start of the season for the Flyboys, which is tied for the team lead with Matthew Egan. So hopefully Body has some more fireworks in store on the mound this evening. Tri-State counters with right-hander Bryant Yoke. Yoke pitches at West Virginia. He is a Mountaineer, and Yoke has, in 12 innings this season, allowed 8 earned runs on 14 hits, walked 7, and struck out 16. Yoke with an ERA of 6 even. Base runners have been a bit of a problem for him, and we'll see if the Flyboys can continue to put pressure on him on the mound as they look to complete a season sweep against Tri-State. A native of Plano, Texas, he'll head off to the University of San Diego in the fall. Body has been a dependable starter on the mound for the Flyboys this season. His best start of the season, given the competition he faced, was against the Burlington Sock Puppets back on July 12th. That was last Saturday in Sockville, where Body delivered 4 scoreless innings against one of the league's best offenses. He allowed just 2 hits, and he struck out 6 guys, needing less than 80 pitches to do it. We'll see if Body can deliver something similar here on the mound in Greenville tonight, facing the Tri-State Coldcats, who enter this game 13-21 on the season. The Flyboys looking to mount a postseason push here in the final 2 weeks of the regular season. If the campaign ended today, Greenville would head to Kingsport for the Appy League semifinal matchup. Body will face the Tri-State Coldcats lineup. Julio Soler leads off. He's the shortstop. Jackson Golden is the catcher, batting second. Cesar Gonzalez is in right field, batting third. Ryan Maggie is the third baseman, batting cleanup. Chandler Murray at first base, batting fifth. Demir Heidelberg is the center fielder, batting sixth. Xavier Rivera is the designated hitter. Sam Winsett batting eighth. He's at second base. And James Henshaw makes his debut in left field for Tri-State here tonight. This is the part of the season where every game can have you on edge because every game matters from here on out. The Flyboys have struggled since the calendar flipped from June to July. Greenville just 4-9 this month, 1-5 at home. Their lone win came 2 weeks ago tonight against the Bluefield Ridge Runners on the 4th of July. Julio Soler stepping into the right-handed batter's box to face Kyle Body. And we are just about set for action here at Pioneer Park. So happy to have you with us on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Body, the lefty, is on the rubber. He winds, and the first pitch of the game. Soler takes upstairs, and we are underway at 7:03 local time. Game time conditions here in Greenville. We've got some clouds overhead. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Body. A fastball that misses inside, and it's 2-0 on Julio Soler. 84 degrees at first pitch. Spent a lot of time on the field in the afternoon hours. The weather feels very pleasant. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Soler takes a fastball for a strike. We had some passing rain showers earlier on in the afternoon, but nothing serious. 2-1 on Soler as Body comes back. Fouled away toward the first base dugout, out of play. But we have become all too familiar with storms that pop up out of nowhere here in Greenville. That was what caught us off guard last night. We were able to finish the suspended game, and then in what was supposed to be a 7-inning nightcap, we could not quite get to half distance. Here's the 2-2. Soler takes a fastball outside, and the count runs full. Tri-State manager Tommy Gregg. With the lefty on the mound for Greenville, Gregg goes with 8 right-handed batters. Ryan Maggie, the biggest power threat in this Tri-State lineup, is the lone lefty. Here's the 3-2. Soler hits a chopper up the middle. Jace Patton cuts it off at shortstop. Sidearm running throw retires Soler, and the leadoff man is gone. Base is empty, scoreless in the top of the first, and the batter is Jackson Golden, the Tri-State catcher. You could see the wind really picking up, and that's always a bad sign because here at Pioneer Park, there is very rarely any wind to speak of. But right before the skies opened up yesterday, the wind was howling out to left field. And unfortunately, we were 2 outs shy of half distance in that 7-inning game. But we could not conclude things. Jackson Golden foul tips the first pitch at home plate, and it's 0-1. Golden on the season, hitting .236. His on-base percentage, like you'll see across the Appy League, at .353. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Golden takes in the dirt. If you look at the league-wide on-base percentage, it's .392. The league-wide batting average is .258. So walks are very easy to come by. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Golden. He swings and misses at a pitch in the dirt, and it's 1-2. Tonight, the Appy League will cross the threshold of 3,000 strikeouts across all games this season. We've already passed 2,000 walks. 1-2 on Golden as Body winds and deals. Golden swings through a slider, and he's gone. First strikeout for Kyle Body. Base is empty, 2 gone in the top of the first, and the batter is Cesar Gonzalez, the right fielder. I was really impressed with Kyle Body in Burlington last weekend. The Sock Puppets at that point were the league's best offensive team, and especially at home, that's where they really thrive. And Body went in, and he was mixing his pitches very well, keeping the Burlington hitters off balance. Here's Gonzalez, the pitch. A fastball that misses in the dirt from Body. But you look at what Kyle Body was able to do against Burlington, and he leaned on the strikeout as he got later into his outing. As he comes back with the 1-0 to Gonzalez. Fouled back to the screen. And it was really impressive because he brought some new pitches out of the arsenal that he had not used the first time through the order. He was leaning on the slider quite a bit, especially to right-handed hitters. Lefties love that pitch. The back foot slider that starts over the plate just below the knees and then drops off the table. Here's the 1-1. Gonzalez takes outside. And I wonder, although Freddie Baravitas is no longer here, I'm sure that he imparted some wisdom onto Kyle Body, since both of them are lefties, before Baravitas departed. Here's the 2-1. Gonzalez checks his swing on a pitch in the dirt. The home plate umpire, James Chestnut, said he went around, and that's strike 2. Gonzalez steps out for a moment. Body looking for a 1-2-3 top of the first inning facing Tri-State. Pair of strikeouts would be nice. A deep breath from him, and the 2-2 pitch. Gonzalez chases the slider in the dirt, and that's the inning. Kyle Body leaning on the breaking pitch early. A pair of strikeouts and a 1-2-3 top of the first for the Flyboys lefty. And as we go to the bottom of inning number 1, Tri-State nothing, Greenville coming to bat. on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Welcome back to Pioneer Park. We're getting set for the bottom of inning number 1 as the Greenville Flyboys currently are scoreless, facing the Tri-State Coldcats for the final time this season. Bryant Yoke, the right-hander out of West Virginia, getting ready to face Reed Hare, Danny Wallace, and Ezra McNaughton. Left, right, left in the upper third of this Flyboys order here this evening. Bryant Yoke made 5 appearances in his freshman season at West Virginia. The ERA, small sample size, but was in double digits. He did strike out 13 guys, though. Hare steps in. First pitch from Yoke misses low and outside. And Bryant Yoke will have his hands full here tonight. The Flyboys can swing it as well as any team in the league when they're clicking. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Hare hits a check swing foul into the Tri-State third base dugout. And I say when they're clicking because, well, the last time Kyle Boddy was on the mound, Greenville was clicking on all cylinders, scoring 17 runs against the league's best pitching staff. And then Greenville came back in the next afternoon and got shut out. 1-1 to Hare, a breaking ball that didn't really break, and it's 2-1. Flyboys in their cream-colored home uniforms once again tonight. Flyboys across the front in blue, outlined in white and red. They've got navy caps and batting helmets. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Hare fouls it back. Tri-State, the Coldcats wearing their road gray uniforms with black lettering outlined in green, which I will say is kind of difficult to read. Black and green don't really go well together, and the print is very small. 2-2 on Hare as Yoke winds and deals. Breaking ball that misses low and in. Talked about Kyle Boddy using the back foot slider, the lefty facing right-handed hitters. Yoke tried a breaker there that ended up around the back foot of Reed Hare, the lefty. But he laid off, and the count is 3-2. Here's the payoff pitch. Hare takes outside, and that's a leadoff walk issued by Bryant Yoke. Danny Wallace stepping to the plate now. Wallace made his Flyboys debut earlier this week against Kingsport. He's been able to hit some baseballs really hard already for Greenville. See if he can square one up here. Wallace is committed to Oklahoma State, a native of La Vista, Nebraska, which, as someone who has driven from Indiana to Nebraska and then back, I really hope that he had some good in-car entertainment on his way to Greenville, because that is a very boring drive. Wallace takes a fastball for a strike from Yoke. The right-hander, Yoke, up to 94 miles per hour with his fastball. On the higher side as far as velocity goes for pitchers facing the Flyboys this year. Here's the 0-1. Wallace hits a foul ball toward the first base side, out of play. And there's one that really sticks out in my mind when the Flyboys visited Elizabethton last month. They've been to Elizabethton a few times, but last month they faced Dante Lewis, right-handed two-way player out of Kansas State. He was up to 96 miles per hour with the hard stuff. Here's the 0-2. Wallace takes a slider low and outside. And the breaking ball from Bryant Yoke, the spin rate nearly 3,000 RPMs. Those are the kinds of numbers that you'll see from professional pitchers. The question is whether or not he can control it. Here's the 1-2 to Wallace. A fastball at the knees. That is a perfect pitch for strike 3. 94 miles per hour at the bottom of the zone, and Wallace is gone. I can't imagine Wallace saw many guys who could locate that pitch in that spot in high school. Ezra McNaughton stepping in. Left-handed batter, leads the league in on-base, slugging percentage, and home runs entering this game. And I'm sure he's excited to face Bryant Yoke because the harder a pitcher throws, the farther the ball goes when you square it up. Here's the pitch. McNaughton takes inside. I was talking to McNaughton earlier today, and he told me that Dante Lewis was the toughest pitcher he's faced in the Appy League so far this season. The Elizabethton right-hander held the Flyboys hitless for 4 innings. Here's the 1-0 pitch. McNaughton hits a line drive towards straightaway center. Demir Heidelberg barely has to move, and he makes the catch to retire the Flyboys' designated hitter. McNaughton tried to go down and get that low fastball, but he didn't quite get all of it. Man at first, 2 gone. We are scoreless in the bottom of the first. And the batter is Cameron Kim, the Flyboys' third baseman. Jackson Golden is the Tri-State catcher. Ryan Maggie is at third base. Julio Soler is the shortstop. Sam Winsett at second. And Chandler Murray is holding the base runner on at first. James Henshaw, Demir Heidelberg, and Cesar Gonzalez in the outfield left to right. First pitch to Kim, a high chopper to the left side. Maggie charging, going to be a tough play. He throws on the run, and it gets past the first baseman Murray down the line. Reed Hare is going to try to score all the way from first base. The throw coming in is cut off as Kim stands up on third with a Little League triple. The Flyboys catch a break there on a defensive miscue by Tri-State, and Greenville leads 1-0 here in the bottom of the first. That's one of those where Maggie would have been better off just holding on to that baseball. Instead, he tried to make a Nolan Arenado-esque play at third base on that high bouncer that just kind of died on the infield grass. And Maggie will be charged with the throwing error there. If he holds on to that, then you're talking about maybe men at first and second with 2 out. Instead, Hare scores. And now a man at third with 2 gone for Jace Patton. Bryant Yoke will go from the windup. Here's the pitch. Patton takes low. Cameron Kim gets credit for an infield hit on that one. He looked around for a second. I think he thought it was foul before he sprinted down the line. Patton gets hit on the hand by a 95-mile-per-hour fastball, and he flings the bat toward first base, trying to shake it out as he jogs to first. That'll bring the athletic trainer, Chris Lenker, out of the first base dugout to make sure that Patton is okay. Yoke lost that fastball. It drifted inside on Patton in the righty box, and he could not bring his hands out of the way. Sounded like it caught him on the wrist or maybe the finger, but I can't imagine that that's going to feel too pleasant for the rest of the night or tomorrow or maybe the day after. Flyboys leading 1-0. Men on the corners and 2 out for Dylan Jackson. Jace Patton will stay in the game. Jack Wilson was also out there to check on Patton, but looks like he's okay, at least good enough to stay in the game, but I can't imagine that that hand's going to be feeling too good. Yoke back in the stretch with men on the corners. Here's the pitch. Jackson takes a fastball for a strike at the top of the zone at 93 miles per hour. Yoke with some good horizontal movement on that fastball. See if Jackson can square it up. He homered yesterday. Here's the 0-1. Jackson takes high from Yoke. Dylan Jackson with a couple home runs this season. One in Elizabethton and one here at Pioneer Park. An opposite field homer, and he pulled one out of here yesterday. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Jackson hits a high fly ball to deep left field. Henshaw spinning, has to play it off the wall. 1 run scores. Patton is headed to third base. Dylan Jackson pulls up at second as the Flyboys now lead 2-0. A 2-out RBI for the man from Long Beach State. Greenville continuing to cause problems on the base paths with 2 outs. Jackson got his hands way inside on a fastball there from Yoke. I don't know how he got the bat to that pitch. It was on the inside chalk. But he picks up his 6th double of the season, RBI number 15. You think about that defensive miscue by Ryan Maggie. That 2-out slow bouncer up the third base line, and he threw it away past first. Second and third for Grant Hunter. Yoke delivers, and Hunter takes a high fastball. And you never know how the inning may have played out if Maggie did not attempt that throw. But Yoke, I'm sure, is frustrated. He's got to make extra pitches here. 1-0 on Hunter as the righty comes back. And Hunter hits a high bouncer to the left side. Julio Soler waits on it at shortstop, and he uncorks a strike to first to get Hunter and end the inning. But the Flyboys scored twice in their first trip to the plate. And as we go to the top of the second, Greenville 2, Tri-State nothing on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Welcome back to Pioneer Park. We're getting set for the top of the second inning. The Greenville Flyboys leading Tri-State 2-0 as Greenville continues this week-long homestand. Kyle Body worked a 1-2-3 first inning with a pair of strikeouts, and he's got some early run support as he faces the middle third of this Cold-Cats order, beginning with the lone Tri-State left-handed batter, Ryan Maggie. Body a deep breath, and the first pitch to Maggie. Swinging a ground ball, hit weakly to second. Peyton Miller fields. The sidearm throw retires Maggie, and the leadoff man is gone to start the second. Now Chandler Murray, the first baseman, comes to the plate. Body and Murray both played last season in the Big 12. Body at Oklahoma State and Murray at Kansas State. But Body headed to the University of San Diego after a couple seasons in Stillwater. Here's the pitch to Murray, outside. Brady Francisco is the catcher for the Flyboys in this one. Cameron Kim is the third baseman. Jace Patton at shortstop. Peyton Miller at second, and Dylan Jackson at first. Here's the 1-0. Murray takes a fastball at the knees for a strike. Grant Hunter is in left field, Reed Hare in center, and Danny Wallace in right. The Flyboys carrying 5 outfielders for the first time this season. Here's the 1-1. Murray hits a hard ground ball past the mound into center field. And Tri-State has its first hit of the evening. A 1-out single from Chandler Murray. Demir Heidelberg stepping in. The Tri-State center fielder.
Number 6, Demir Heidelberg.
Heidelberg, a native of Homewood, Illinois. He'll head off to Eastern Michigan. And I had to do a double take when I looked at his birthday. He was born in June 2007. Which means he's almost 4 years younger than I am. That's kind of weird. First pitch to Heidelberg, swung on and missed. Body working the inner half of the plate with a fastball. Heidelberg 1 for 11 in his first few games with the Cold-Cats. That one hit was a home run yesterday. Here's the 0-1. Heidelberg pokes it foul and out of play to the first base side. Quickly 0-2. Tri-State is the league's best hitting team on the road this season. Murray leading off of first. And the 0-2. Heidelberg gets hit on the elbow guard, or his protective equipment there, and he will take off toward first base. Kyle Body, before he turned his head toward home, looked at Murray over at first and then delivered the pitch, and that fastball just got away from him.
Number 37, Xavier Rivera.
So Xavier Rivera steps in with men at first and second and 1 away. The Flyboys leading Tri-State 2-0 in the top of the second. Tri-State hitting .290 on the road and an OPS of .849 entering this game. The bats have done their part. The pitching staff, though, has not. Rivera steps in. Here's the pitch from Body. An off-speed offering that misses away. Tri-State also, despite being bested by the Flyboys overall in the stolen base category, Tri-State has stolen 45 bases on the road. That is the most of any team. 1-0 on Rivera. Here's the pitch. Rivera swings through a fastball at the top of the zone. Tri-State's pitching staff, though, has struggled on the road. An ERA near 6.5. And they allow more walks and hits on a per-inning basis than any other team in the league. Here's the 1-1. Rivera takes outside. A whip of 1.86 on the road. Tri-State also has not gotten much help from its team defense either. Second worst fielding percentage in the league. So the bats find it difficult to keep pace. Here's the 2-1. Rivera takes a strike at the knees. A good sinker from Body at the bottom of the zone. I was talking to Chris Lenker, the athletic trainer, when we were in Burlington. Had some downtime. We were getting some food before heading to the field. Here's the 2-2. Rivera hits a chopper to the right side. Jackson charges and steps on first to retire Rivera for the second out. Runners move up. Murray to third. Heidelberg to second. Scored 3 unassisted as the DH is gone. 2 in scoring position for Sam Winsett. 2 gone in the top of the second. Greenville leading Tri-State 2-0. But Chris Lenker said that there aren't a lot of Kyle Bodies in the world of college baseball anymore. Where velocity is king, you see a lot of arm injuries. You also see a lot of guys throwing in the mid-90s, especially down in this part of the country in the SEC. Here's the first pitch to Winsett. A fastball that misses. No, it got the call on the outside corner. That was a late strike call from James Chestnut, but it's 0-1. But Lenker said that Kyle Body, not somebody who's going to blow you away with the velocity. Fastball, 87 to 89 miles per hour. Here's the 0-1. Winsett takes strike, a changeup at the knees, and it's 0-2. That's a good sequence from Body there. A high outside fastball, and then a low changeup on the middle of the plate. Those pitches look very similar coming out of the hand. But Body is more of the Greg Maddux type who relies on movement and location to keep hitters off balance. Here's the 0-2 pitch. A changeup or a fastball in the dirt, I should say. And it's 1-2. Chandler Murray had a 1-out base hit. He's at third base. Demir Heidelberg was plunked. He's at second. A couple ground outs in this inning. Body struck out a pair in the first. Nothing has left the infield yet. Here's the 1-2. Winsett hits a soft ground ball foul past first. Body rushed it up to 90 miles per hour there on the outer part of the plate. And Winsett kept his hands back and just slashed at it. Just a defensive swing there after Body got the call on the outer part of the plate to start the at-bat. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Winsett hits a line drive sinking toward left field. This is down for a base hit. 1 run scores. Heidelberg hustling home as well. And Tri-State ties the game at 2-2 on a 2-run single from Sam Winsett. The Coldcats are on the board, and we are starting over in the second. Winsett entered this game hitting just 161. He picks up RBIs 11 and 12 on the season. A good defensive swing on the pitch before, and then Body left a changeup elevated near the middle of the plate. And Winsett got just enough of it to dunk it down in front of Grant Hunter in left field. Some good 2-out hitting for both sides in this game. Dylan Jackson had a 2-out double last inning to double the Flyboys' lead. James Henshaw stepping in now. His debut for the Tri-State Coldcats in the final couple weeks of the regular season. When teams have guys depart, they go back home or they go back to school. Henshaw filling up a roster spot in the outfield. Here's the pitch. He takes low and in from Body. And if you're the Flyboys, you're thinking, okay, Tri-State, a last-place team, you're thinking, we need to make sure we win these games. Because for Greenville, the next week is going to be a very tough stretch of games. Here's the 1-0. Henshaw foul tips it at home plate, and it's 1-1. Really, that stretch begins tomorrow against Burlington. It might also be against the weather because the forecast does not look great this weekend. Burlington is in town for 2 games, and then the Flyboys face Elizabethton 4 times in 5 days. Runner goes. Body's got him picked off. The throw to second from Jackson. The tag from Miller. And Winsett is caught stealing to end the inning. Winsett went on first movement with the lefty on the hill. Body threw over to Jackson, who slung it over to Miller at second base. Winsett's tagged out, and that's the top of the second. But Winsett's 2-run single evens us up. Flyboys and Coldcats tied at 2 as we go to the bottom of the second on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Welcome back to Pioneer Park. We're in the bottom of the second inning. Greenville and Tri-State tied at 2. Bryant Yoke faced 7 batters in the first inning. Flyboys scored a couple times with 2 outs. Brady Francisco steps in and takes inside from Yoke. Francisco will be followed by Peyton Miller, and then Reed Hare at the top of the order will step in for the second time. Yoke winds. Here's the 1-0. Francisco fouls it away toward first base. But the Flyboys, they will only face 4 different teams over the final 2 weeks of the regular season. And they've seen all of them, well, I should say 3 of 4 very recently. Here's the 1-1. Francisco fouls it away again, and it's 1-2. Flyboys facing Burlington for the second time in as many weekends beginning tomorrow. And then Elizabethton will go to Elizabethton, we will go to Elizabethton on Tuesday and Saturday. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball hit weakly on the ground. A high chopper past the mound. Soler, the shortstop, fields and makes a fine running throw to retire Francisco. Soler took charge, read that one the entire way, sprinted in as the ball came down, and threw on to first almost in one motion to get Francisco. Peyton Miller stepping in, the Flyboys' second baseman. His on-base percentage nearly 400 now. He's been swinging it well lately. Had 4 hits in 2 games against Kingsport earlier this week. Here's the pitch. Miller squares to bunt, pops it up behind home plate. That ball is into the screen. Then the Flyboys will host Elizabethton on Wednesday. Go to Johnson City, but not to play the Doughboys, to play Bristol. That's where the State Liners called home this year. And then host Elizabethton next Sunday, not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow. And then close the season with a home-and-home against Johnson City. Here's the 0-1 to Miller. A fastball that misses low. That heater at 95 miles per hour from Bryant Yoke. It's the hardest thrown fastball we've seen from anyone not named Dante Lewis facing the Flyboys this season. 1-1 on Francisco as the righty comes back. Peyton Miller, I should say, takes low and in. Brady Francisco grounded out to start the inning. But when the Flyboys faced Dante Lewis, you could tell we were sitting very close to the field, and it just looks different. I know it sounds obvious. Miller fouls it off behind the plate, and it's 2-2. Flyboys and Colecats tied at 2. Bases empty, 1 gone in the bottom of the second. But when Dante Lewis was on against Greenville, 4 scoreless innings, there was very little, if any, solid contact made by anybody. Bryant Yoke, the numbers say that he can be prone to giving up a lot of hits. Here's the 2-2. Breaking ball misses inside. Miller spun out of the way of that slider. And it's 3-2. Let's see what Yoke goes to here on the full count pitch. The wide and the delivery. Fastball fouled off at home plate. That one got Miller on the leg. He'll try to walk it off in the home plate circle. But that stretch of games next week, between Tuesday and Saturday, when the Flyboys play Elizabethton 4 times, these teams entering tonight, Greenville and Elizabethton, separated by 4 games in the standings. So that will have a massive bearing on which team is in postseason contention. I think we're going to know by this time next week. Here's the 3-2. Miller swings through a changeup, and that's strike 3. Yoke had him out in front there. That is the second strikeout of the game for Bryant Yoke. Bases empty, 2 gone in the bottom of the second. Flyboys and Tri-State tied at 2, and the batter is Reed Hare. But Yoke seems to be settling in nicely here. Reed Hare stepping in for the second time. He walked and scored a run back in the first. Here's the pitch from Yoke. Hare squares to bunt, watches a breaking ball up and away. It may have been a splitter from Bryant Yoke. Didn't have the velocity of a four-seam, but it dropped. Here's the 1-0. Hare fouls it back. Went after 92 miles an hour below the zone, and it's 1-1. But Greenville will get a slight break in the middle of next week, playing last place Bristol twice. So you're hoping that the Flyboys can take care of business against the State Liners. Here's the 1-1. Hare takes outside. Because you've got Elizabethton, well, first you've got Burlington, then Elizabethton, and then Johnson City. Those are all teams that are still either within shouting distance or in contention to make the postseason. Here's the 2-1. Hare fouls it away. And I do think that with 12 games left in the regular season, it's gonna come at you quickly. 12 games including tonight. And then the postseason immediately following. 2-2 on Hare. Yoke looking for the 1-2-3 inning. The pitch. Breaking ball hit weakly on the ground towards second. Off the glove of Winsett, and he's got no play. So Reed Hare reaches. Winsett, the second baseman, had to go to his backhand there to try to field that one. And I don't even know that if he had gotten the glove on it cleanly, he would have had a chance to throw out Reed Hare. Winsett knocking that one down. Kept it in the infield, but Hare was hustling down the line. I think he would have beaten the play either way. So Danny Wallace steps in as Hare gets credit for the infield hit. Wallace struck out looking his first time. Here's the pitch. Wallace takes downstairs. Hare at first base. 8 for 8 stealing bases this season. The Flyboys inching closer to 100 stolen bases. Here's the 1-0 to Wallace. Low and away. Greenville, 83 of 93 entering tonight. This is game number 35. Tri-State second, but a little bit less successful, 80 of 99. Just a tick above 80%. Here's the 2-0. Wallace takes a fastball at the knees. 92 miles an hour on the low inside corner. That's a tough pitch to hit in any count, let alone 2-0. Yoke already up to 38 pitches. Here's the 2-0. Wallace foul tips it at home plate. I should say it's now 2-2 after the called strike and then there on the swinging strike. Yoke looking to strand the 2-out infield hit. A look over there at first. Hare's got a decent lead. He goes, the pitch, low and outside. The throw to second, offline. This ball's into center field. Hare sprinting to third base. That's a throwing mistake there from Jackson Golden. That throw sailed on him toward the first base side of second. Sam Winsett cannot get over there to field it in time. Heidelberg backing up the play, got the ball in quickly. But that throwing error puts Hare at third base. Tri-State's second error in as many innings. Reed Hare scored on the first one. Full count on Wallace. Here's the payoff. Wallace swings and foul tips it at home plate. Just getting a piece of a fastball at the knees, and the catcher Jackson Golden couldn't quite hold on to it. See if Danny Wallace can come through, either bring Reed Hare home or get walked and give Ezra McNaughton a chance to do some damage with 2 runners on. A good battle here. Here's the pitch. Wallace ducks out of the way of a breaking ball, and that's ball 4. Bryant Yoke was around the bottom of the zone for the entire plate appearance leading up to that last pitch, when the breaking ball just sailed on him. And now he has to face Ezra McNaughton with men on the corners and 2 out. Flyboys and Coldcats tied at 2 in the bottom of the second. When McNaughton in the number 3 spot in the Flyboys lineup, as he has been nearly all season, Leads the team in homers, second in the league behind Cam Durnan in RBIs. See if he can get to 40. He's at 38 right now. Here's the pitch. McNaughton takes low. Yoke missing with the fastball. But usually teams try to pitch around him. Said he's noticed more attempts to get him to chase outside the strike zone as the season has gone on. Here's the 1-0. McNaughton fouls it away. Bryant Yoke really trying to work around the knees against almost every hitter that he's faced so far in this game. But the Flyboys looking to run his pitch count up. They've done a great job of that. He's up to 45 pitches in an inning and 2/3. See if Greenville can take the lead and break this 2-2 tie. Here's the pitch. McNaughton fouls it off his leg at home plate. Went after a low off-speed pitch there from Yoke. He's shown the fastball, the slider, and what looks to be either a splitter or a changeup. But he's mixed in now 3 pitches. 1-2 on McNaughton. Runners on the corners. Here's the pitch. The runner goes. The pitch is outside. And Danny Wallace takes second without a throw from Jackson Golden. Not opting to try to catch the trail runner with Reed Hare over at third base. You don't want to risk the throw going offline and Hare trotting home. 2 men in scoring position for McNaughton. Here's the 2-2. Up and away as Yoke misses with an off-speed pitch, and the count is full. Back-to-back full counts here with 2 outs in the bottom of the second from Bryant Yoke. After he got the first 2 men to go down harmlessly, a walk and a base hit. And now a full count on McNaughton. Here's the payoff. McNaughton takes outside, and that'll load the bases for Cameron Kim. It's a great job there by Ezra McNaughton. Being patient, not giving in to Yoke, trying to get him to make some weak contact there. But McNaughton would not bite. Now Cameron Kim has a chance to pay it off. Bases loaded, 2 gone in the bottom of the second. The Flyboys and Tri-State tied at 2 here in Greenville. That brings the catcher Jackson Golden out to talk to Bryant Yoke. Golden also talking to the shortstop Julio Soler here. And now the third baseman Ryan Maggie joins the party. Golden looks like he was, I think, messing with his mask there for a second, but a very quick meeting between the 4 men. Cameron Kim stepping to the plate. He had a big swing of the bat the last time Kyle Body was on the mound. Hit a 3-run homer in Burlington. 3 homers, 14 RBIs so far this season. Kim singled and scored a run back in the first. See if he can break this 2-2 tie. Yoke will go from the windup with men at every base. Here's the pitch to Kim. Breaking ball misses behind him. Here comes Hare from third base, and he scores on the wild pitch. That slider just did not break. Bryant Yoke had it pop out of his hand way too early. Everybody moves up. Hare scores. Flyboys now lead 3-2. McNaughton to second and Wallace to third. All of this trouble for the second consecutive inning, coming with 2 outs. Yoke still from the windup. Here's the 1-0. Breaking ball in the middle of the plate for strike 1. Kim leaned out of the way of that one. And that's the thing, when the guy throws 95, you see something coming at you, that's your instinct to get out of the way. Here's the 1-1. Another breaking ball, this one at the knees, and that's strike 2. That's tough as a hitter. When the guy throws the first pitch over your head, and then he starts 2 breaking balls at you again, but both end up in the strike zone. 1-2 on Kim. Here's the pitch. Kim chases an outside breaking ball, and that's strike 3. So Kim strikes out, strands a pair in scoring position. Greenville takes a 3-2 lead on the wild pitch. And after 2, Flyboys ahead over Tri-State on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Welcome back to Pioneer Park. We're getting set for the top of the 3rd inning. The Greenville Flyboys leading Tri-State 3-2. Kyle Body back to the hill after giving up a 2-out 2-run single in the last inning. James Henshaw steps in and fouls away the first pitch. Henshaw was in the box when Sam Winsett was picked off of first base to end the last inning. So it'll be 9-1-2 due up for the Colecats here. Body looking to keep the Flyboys lead intact as Greenville looks for win number 20. Here's the 0-1. Henshaw takes an inside strike, and it's 0-2. Got some cloud cover overhead. Sometimes in the early part of these games, the sun and the shadows can play a factor, but no need to worry about that here tonight. Here's the 0-2 from Body. Henshaw takes a fastball that misses outside. James Henshaw, a native of Massachusetts, plays at Tufts University in the state of Massachusetts. The 1-2 pitch, fouled off at home plate. That was a slider that caught the handle of the bat and then deflected off Brady Francisco's mask into the screen. Home plate umpire James Chestnut checking on him. He's okay. Chestnut behind the plate, and Denias Johnson is the base umpire. Here's the 1-2. Henshaw takes high. Body missed with a slider. Body's broken out a couple different off-speed pitches as he finishes his first trip through the order. And now the 2-2. Henshaw foul tips it at home plate. Francisco holds on, and that's strike 3. Body went with the fastball at the knees. That's his third strikeout. First 2 are on the slider, but he's shown that he'll throw any pitch in any count. Back to the top of the order. Here's Julio Soler. Flyboys leading Tri-State 3-2 with the leadoff man gone in the top of the third. Body winds. Here's the pitch. Soler hits a line drive down the right field side. Foul. Flyboys bullpen catcher Nicky Satterley going out to retrieve it. Body worked a 1-2-3 first inning. He got Julio Soler to ground out up the middle to begin the game. This will be one of the cooler games here at Pioneer Park by temperature. It's 84 degrees, but with no sun, it's not too bad at all. 0-1 on Soler. Here's the pitch. He takes a high fastball from Body. Elsewhere around the Appy League, we're hoping to get through a full slate here tonight. Weather impacted a few games last night, including us here in Greenville. 1-1. Soler hits a line drive, leaping grab, made at first base by Dylan Jackson. He took away what could have been a double down the right field line. Julio Soler is gone, and that's the second out here in the top of the third. Almost looked like Jackson hung up in the air there for a minute, reaching up with his tan first baseman's mitt to grab that one. Now Jackson Golden stepping in. Soler caught that one off the end of the bat just enough to where Jackson had time to leap and grab it. First pitch to Jackson Golden, misses outside. And the count is 1-0. Golden in a unique situation because he plays his college ball at Marshall, and that is where Tri-State calls home in Huntington. Here's the 1-0. Golden takes low and away. Tri-State, the newest team in the Appy League. They took the place of the Princeton Whistle Pigs, which in my opinion had one of the coolest names of a team that is now defunct, be it in any sport across any level. The 2-0 from Body on the way. Golden takes outside. But the Whistle Pigs struggled in 2022 and 23 and ultimately ceased operations. Tri-State took Princeton's place. Here's the 3-0. Golden takes a fastball for a strike. But Tri-State is partnered with Marshall University. They use the same colors, green, black, and white. Play their home games at Jack Cook Field, which is also the home of the Thundering Herd. The 3-1 to Golden. A chopper up the middle, past the mound. Jace Patton charges from shortstop and throws on the run to get Golden and end the inning. It's a 1-2-3 top of the third for Kyle Body, a shutdown frame, and the Flyboys will carry a 3-2 lead to the home half of inning number 3 on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Welcome back to Pioneer Park. We're entering the bottom of the third inning. Greenville Flyboys leading the Tri-State Coldcats 3-2. Nick Rodecap with you here on this Friday evening. It's cloudy in Greenville. We've got the floodlights turned on as we approach the top of the 8 o'clock hour. Jace Patton will be followed by Dylan Jackson and Grant Hunter, facing the right-hander Bryant Yoke for the second time. Patton has a half swing at a first pitch breaking ball, and it's 0-1. Bryant Yoke can spin it. That slider up to about 2,700 RPMs, which is round about what you'll see in the professional ranks. There's another slider. This time Patton lays off. He's looking for something a little bit less painful than what happened when he got drilled by a 95-mile-per-hour fastball his first time up. Here's the 1-1. A slow breaking ball that misses inside. Looked pretty good from Yoke. Looked like it caught the high inside corner, but James Chestnut said it didn't. Now here's the 2-1 to Patton. Swinging a ground ball to the left side. That ball finds its way into the outfield for a leadoff single. Patton did not get all of that one by any means, but it split the defenders. Ryan Maggie at third base and Julio Soler at shortstop. So here's Dylan Jackson. He delivered a 2-out double in the first inning that gave the Flyboys an insurance run. They led 2-0 after one, and then Tri-State responded on a 2-run single from Sam Winsett to even the scoring. Greenville answered, scoring on a wild pitch to take a 3-2 lead. Patton leads off of first. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball that misses head high to Jackson. That's the thing that I've noticed about Bryant Yoke in his outing so far, is that he's got good stuff. It's just that he doesn't always know where it's going. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Jackson pops it foul over toward first and out of play. And there's a term that sometimes you'll hear people use to describe a pitcher who has good stuff but doesn't always know where it's going. They'll say he's conveniently wild. Sometimes when I was pitching, I would think about finishing my warm-up pitches. Here's the 1-1. Jackson hits a cue shot foul toward first, out in front on a slider. I would think about throwing my last warm-up pitch of the inning just straight to the backstop. Just throw it over the catcher, throw it over the umpire's head, hit the screen on the fly, just to let everybody know that they should be scared when they step into the batter's box. Now, I don't think that Bryant Yoke is trying to intentionally throw breaking balls over the heads of these Flyboys hitters. Here's the 1-2 to Jackson. Breaking ball hit off the end of the bat, high into shallow right center field. The second baseman, Sam Winsett, backpedals a few steps and makes the catch. Jackson is gone. Man at first, one away. Greenville leads 3-2 in the bottom of the third, and the batter is Grant Hunter, with Dylan Jackson retired. Hunter steps in for the second time. Hunter, even though he hasn't put bat on ball as much as some of these other Flyboys hitters, top 15 in the Appy League with his on-base percentage. It's up to .467. Here's the pitch. Hunter takes low. So since he was retired his first time up, statistically speaking, he's due to reach base here. The question is how? Patton leading off first, held on by Chandler Murray. Yoke comes set at the letters, and the 1-0. Hunter takes up and in. Fastball brushing him off the plate. Yoke was up to 95 miles per hour. That heater at 90. His pitch count 63. And we're only through 2 1/3 with him on the mound. Here's the 2-0. Hunter takes high and tight again. So Yoke throwing much harder early on than he is now. There's a right-hander getting up and moving in the Tri-State bullpen. Yoke is set. Here's the 3-0. Hunter takes a strike at the knees. That looked like it was below the zone. Hunter took a couple steps toward first base, but James Chestnut brought him on back. See if Hunter gets something to drive here on 3-1. His only homer of the season was over a month ago. That was in Bluefield. Runner goes really early. Yoke steps off the throw to second. The tag, and Patton is out. He tried to catch Yoke sleeping on the mound, but Yoke, hearing the communication from his teammates, stepped off the mound, threw to Sam Winstead at second, and Jace Patton had no chance of getting in there. Scored 1-4 on the caught stealing. Now Yoke back to work, and Hunter pops the 3-1 pitch foul behind home plate. That's an interesting decision by Jace Patton. I understand where you're coming from, trying to catch the pitcher, maybe force him to balk, but running into an out like that, I don't know. I like to give Hunter a chance to swing the bat and drive you in. The 3-2 misses behind him, so all else equal, he would have advanced to second anyway. That's the 4th walk of the game for Bryant Yoke. Hunter at first with 2 gone in the inning for Brady Francisco. Just one of those where the pitcher seems to be having a lot of trouble commanding the strike zone, so you don't want to give him any extra outs. Francisco stepping in. He grounded out to shortstop his first time. Greenville leading 3-2 with 2 gone in the bottom of the 3rd. First pitch from Yoke. Francisco takes in the dirt. Golden blocks it, and he wants a new baseball. Francisco and Hunter both in the top 15 in the Appy League and on base. Francisco slightly better than Hunter at 477. Before the 1-0 pitch, Tri-State pitching coach Salomon Torres goes out to have a word with Bryant Yoke. Mentioned the right-hander up and throwing in the Tri-State bullpen. I'd imagine this is probably Yoke's last inning. He's up to 68 pitches, just 35 for strikes. See if Francisco can drive one into the gap here and extend the Flyboys' 3-2 lead. Given historical precedent, you're thinking Kyle Boddy is probably going to get through 4 or 5 innings. I'd like to give him some extra run support, though, as Greenville looks to pull a little bit closer to Kingsport. Flyboys a game and a half out of first place entering tonight. If the season ended today, the Flyboys and the Axemen would have a rematch of last year's semifinal. Here's the 1-0 to Francisco. A breaking ball in the dirt, kicking up some of the chalk in the outside batter's box. Elsewhere around the Appy League, Bluefield's struggles continue. The Ridge Runners trailing Bristol at home 7-1 in the 6th inning. Here's the 2-0. Francisco takes inside. Bluefield has lost back-to-back games to last-place teams entering tonight. Tri-State mercy ruled Bluefield before coming here to Pioneer Park, and then Bristol won a rain-shortened game last night. Here's the 3-0. A breaking ball that misses low, and that's a 2-out walk. The second consecutive 2-out walk issued by Yoke. Tommy Gregg is at the top step of the Tri-State dugout. See how much longer he lets Yoke go in this one. A chance for Peyton Miller here to drive in some insurance runs. The Flyboys leading 3-2. First and second with 2 gone. In the bottom of the 3rd for the Flyboys' number 9 hitter. Tommy Gregg still at the top step of the Cold Cats dugout, but it looks like he will let Bryant Yoke face Peyton Miller. The top of the order waits on deck. It would be the 3rd time Yoke has faced them. Miller takes high. A slider from Yoke missing above the zone. Elizabethton and Burlington at the halfway point. The Sock Puppets beating the River Riders 4-2. 1-0 on Francisco, or excuse me, on Miller. Here's the pitch. A fastball for a strike. 1-1 on Peyton Miller. Kingsport leading Pulaski 2-0 in the top of the 4th inning. Johnson City and Danville, the Doughboys leading the Danville Otterbots 2-1. Here's the 1-1. Miller takes an inside strike. Fastball right at the knees from Yoke, and it's 1-2.
Good looking, dude.
That pitch looked like it was inside. Miller didn't like the call, and he said something to James Chestnut behind home plate there. Asked for time, and he'll take a second. And if you're the Flyboys, you're hoping that Johnson City and Elizabethton don't pick up any ground. You can chiefly do that by winning, but also by hoping that they lose. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Miller swings and misses at a slider, and he's gone to end the inning. Flyboys strand a couple 2-out walks. They've left 6 in 3 innings. After 3, Greenville leads Tri-State 3-2 on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Top of the 4th inning here at Pioneer Park, where the Greenville Flyboys currently lead Tri-State 3-2. Nick Rotacap with you here on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Kyle Body still working with the 1-run advantage. He worked a 1-2-3 third inning. Let's see what he can do here in the 4th. Facing Cesar Gonzalez, Ryan Maggie, and Chandler Murray. First pitch to Gonzalez, chopped foul at home plate. 3, 4, and 5 due up in the Tri-State order here. Flyboys took a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the 1st, wreaking some havoc with 2 outs in the inning. The big swing of the bat, an RBI double from Dylan Jackson. Body delivers the 0-1. Gonzalez hits a soft liner toward right center. Wallace sprinting in, Miller going out, and it drops between them. Gonzalez has a leadoff single here in the top of the 4th. Tri-State tied the game in the top of the 2nd with a 2-run single from Sam Winsett. And then the Flyboys took a 3-2 lead, scoring on a wild pitch. Tri-State starter Bryant Yoke has really had to work. Flyboys have stranded 6 base runners already. Tri-State has not left any, mostly because Kyle Body's side of the scorecard is much cleaner. Ryan Maggie steps in from the left side. Here's the pitch from Body, and Maggie takes outside. Maggie at the plate is the only left-handed batter in this Tri-State lineup. We've seen Tri-State manager Tommy Gregg use alternating left-handed and right-handed hitters quite a bit. But with the lefty on the mound, he goes right-hander heavy. Here's the 1-0. Maggie takes a breaking ball in the dirt. He started the hands, but held up. See if Body can get the Flyboys back into the dugout. Greenville's been good at turning up double plays. Here's the 2-0. Maggie takes a low fastball for a strike. The Flyboys leaning on Freddie Benavides against Kingsport a few nights ago. Benavides with 6 scoreless innings. And here's the 2-1. Maggie takes low. Benavides induced an inning-ending double play to retire Cam Durnan, who leads the league in RBIs. That was when the Flyboys led 3-0, but Kingsport had men on first and second with 1 out. 3-1 on Maggie. And here's the pitch. A line drive toward left field. Hunter coming on, has to wait on it. And Tri-State is in business here in the top of the 4th. The Coldcats have first and second with nobody out. Jack Wilson, the Flyboys manager, is at the top step of the first base dugout. But it looks like he'll stay there for now. Sometimes Wilson likes to come out and just talk to the Flyboys infield to calm everybody down a little bit. See if Body can get out of trouble here. Chandler Murray singled off Kyle Body his first time up. A chance for him to tie this game. Here's the pitch. Fastball that misses high. And if you're the Flyboys, you're thinking about the, I'm not going to call it a missed opportunity because it's the weather and you can't control the weather. But that game last night where Greenville was leading at the time the game was canceled. Here's the 1-0. Murray takes outside. They throw behind the runner at first, but Maggie's back in standing. If you look at where that game was when it was canceled, there was 1 out in the 4th inning, the top of the 4th with the Flyboys leading, and that game was 2 outs away from being official. Greenville could have had win number 20 yesterday. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. Body went right after him with a high fastball, and Murray swung through it. Murray's got purple batting gloves. He's out of Kansas State. One of a couple purple schools in the Big 12. Here's the 2-1. Murray takes outside. The other, of course, being TCU, the Horned Frogs. Think about TCU making it to the College Football Playoff National Championship game in the 2022 season. Here's the 3-1 from Body. A spin and a throw back to second. A quick tag from Peyton Miller, but Gonzalez is safe. Body went with the inside move there. But But now what happened in the national championship game, well, Georgia won 65-7 is what happened. That game was over after the first quarter. 3-1 on Murray. Now Body delivers. And the pitch hit foul past first base. That ball finds the seats. I remember watching that game in the room of Forest Quad on the campus of Indiana University. I was a freshman at the time, and thinking, wow, this is an unstoppable force versus a movable object. 3-2 on Murray. Maggie at first base, Gonzalez at second, nobody away. Here's the pitch. Murray swings through a slider, and that's strike 3. A big first out recorded there by Kyle Body as he picks up his 4th strikeout of the evening. And this is the part of the order that did the damage in the second inning for Tri-State. Greenville leading 3-2 in the top of the 4th. First and second, one away for Heidelberg. He was hit by a pitch. First time he faced Body. Here's the offering. Heidelberg takes a backdoor slider for strike 1. But Murray and Heidelberg both reached, and then Sam Winsett drove them home. Figure if Body can get through this inning, the Flyboys get back into the dugout, add a couple more runs. Wouldn't be a bad day at the office at all. Here's the 0-1. Heidelberg fouls it back. Body quickly ahead 0-2. Heidelberg's only hit so far. He's played 4 full games, but Heidelberg 1 for 11 on the season. He homered, though, facing J.D. Hay yesterday. The Flyboys won that suspended game by a final score of 15-7. Here's the 0-2. Heidelberg takes outside. Body missing with the heater. Nobody up in the Flyboys bullpen right now, so you figure Body definitely looking to get through this 4th inning. Here's the 1-2. Heidelberg hits a soft liner. This ball is headed toward the left field corner. Gonzalez sprinting home from second base, and Demir Heidelberg delivers once again. Grant Hunter cuts it off and gets it in, but not before Demir Heidelberg delivers an RBI single, and we are tied at 3 in the top of the 4th. Heidelberg really got jammed on that pitch. You can hear it hit the handle of the bat, but he did a good job muscling it into left field. He's reached both times in this game. Brady Francisco goes out to talk to Kyle Body before Xavier Rivera steps to the plate. Greenville and Tri-State tied at 3 with 1 gone in the top of the 4th. Heidelberg at first base and Maggie now at second. Rivera hitting .255 on the season. Grounded out to Dylan Jackson at first base back in inning number 2. Body looks at second. And here's the pitch. Rivera fouls it back. Mentioned that Tri-State is much better on the road than at home, and that is certainly bearing itself out here. Yesterday, because that game began at Tri-State, that goes in the books as a Tri-State home game, even though it was finished here. A long pause and a look at second. And now the 0-1. Rivera hits a soft liner to the right side. Wall is sprinting over. This ball is down in fair territory. Tri-State's going to take the lead. The throw coming in gets away from Miller, the cutoff man. And Tri-State now leads 4-3 in the top of the 4th. An RBI single from Xavier Rivera. Maggie scores from second as Heidelberg goes first to third. Jared Morton, the Flyboys pitching coach, walking out of the first base dugout to talk things over with Kyle Body. Go figure. Facing one of the league's best offenses, he throws 4 shutout innings, and then here, Tri-State tags him for 4 runs in 3 1/3. Back-to-back RBI singles by the bottom part of this Tri-State lineup. For Rivera, that is his 9th RBI of the season. Rivera having played in now 20 games, but he delivers there, hugging that right field foul line. Sam Winsett had the 2-run single last time he faced Kyle Body. he could do some more damage here. 4 hits in 5 batters this inning for Tri-State. So Body now getting set to face Winsett. Rivera at first, Heidelberg at third. Tri-State leading Greenville 4-3 in the top of inning number 4.
Now batting number 38, Sam
You
Winsett.
figure the way Bryant Yoke struggled to get through the Flyboys lineup 2 times, that Greenville would have more control over this game. But Tri-State is making the high leverage at-bats count so far. Winsett steps in. Here's the pitch. He takes in the dirt. Francisco fields the short hop. A tough sledding so far for Kyle Body here this evening. Saw Matthew Egan go down to the bullpen earlier. I don't see anybody down there now. 1-0 on Winsett. And the pitch. He takes just below the knees. Brady Francisco tried to frame the fastball, but it was downstairs. See if Body can lock back in here. He is up to 69 pitches now through 3 1/3. Here's the 2-0. Winsett hits a hard ground ball through the left side for a base hit. Heidelberg sprints home, and that is the 5th single of the inning for Tri-State, as the Coldcats now lead 5-3. That ball was 100 miles an hour off the bat between Cameron Kim and Jace Patton on the left side of the infield. Sam Winsett, who was hitting 161 entering this game, has 2 RBI singles in 4 innings. He is now up to 13 RBIs on the season, 3 of them coming here tonight. First and second, one gone for James Henshaw, the 7th men to the plate in this inning. 5 of them have hit safely. Henshaw foul tips it at home plate. Gonzalez, Maggie, Heidelberg, Rivera, and Winsett, all with base hits. Body has now allowed 7 knocks, none of them going for extra bases. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Henshaw takes a low strike. Body went with the changeup, and it's 0-2. You figured the way he pitched against Burlington, he was going to give the Flyboys a pretty good chance. Now, this is still only a 2-run game. Tri-State swinging it well on the road. Henshaw takes low and outside, and it's 1-2. Tri-State here with 1 away in the top of the 4th. 5 runs on 7 hits and 2 errors. The Flyboys, 3 runs on 4 hits and no errors. Double play ends the inning. See if Body can roll it up. Here's the 1-2. Henshaw takes low and in. The lefty delivered a back foot slider there. That sends Jake Kennedy and Braxton Lewis down to the Flyboys bullpen. Hunter Sloop also walking down there. A trio of right-handers. Here's the 2-2. Henshaw fouls off an inside pitch. He'll stay alive. That one got a piece of Brady Francisco at the plate, so he'll walk it off. But Greenville having some difficulty here with Tri-State tonight. Coldcats leading 5-3 with 1 gone in the top of the 4th. Winsett at first base. And the lead runner is Xavier Rivera at second. Henshaw getting set to see the 6th pitch of this plate appearance. See if Body can retire him. A look at second. And the 2-2. A breaking ball. Strike 3 called at the top of the zone. Henshaw looked at a slow curveball there. Ended up right at the belt, and he's gone.
Mr. Electric strikeout. Now batting number 17,
Body strikes him out for the 2nd
Julio
time.
Soler.
Now back to the top of the order for Julio Soler, facing Body for the 3rd time in 4 innings. Soler, the infielder out of Boston College. First and second, 2 gone for him here. Looking to add to Tri-State's 5-3 lead. Body is set at the letters. Here's the pitch. Soler checks his swing. The throw down to first. A tag from Dylan Jackson is late. Francisco tried another back pick there, but Winsett was wise to it. Francisco trying that back pick with Dylan Jackson at first a couple times in this inning. It has not been successful so far. Here's the 0-1 to Soler. A breaking ball that misses inside. That was not off the plate. It looked like a strike. But now the count 2-0 on Soler. Neither of these pitches have actually been off the plate or high. Here's the pitch. Soler hits a ground ball up the middle. Patton toward the hole, cannot glove it cleanly. Here comes Rivera sprinting home from second, and everybody's going to be safe. Patton couldn't field that one cleanly. He was running toward the hole behind second base, and it kicked off his glove into center field. Rivera hustled home with 2 away in the inning, scored standing up, and Tri-State has now doubled up the Flyboys. It's 6-3 here in the 4th inning. Kyle Body having trouble here in this 4th inning. Brady Francisco goes out to talk to Body before Jackson Golden, the 9th man to the plate, steps in. That one scored an infield hit, so credit Soler with his 13th RBI of the season. And for Tri-State, that is their 6th hit in this inning. All of them have been singles. RBI knocks in this frame from 4 different men. Demir Heidelberg, Xavier Rivera, Sam Winsett, and now Julio Soler. This is as close to death by 1,000 cuts as it gets for the Flyboys. Tri-State now has 8 hits. Talked about it earlier. The Colecats hitting .290 on the road. That's the best of any team in the league. First and second for Jackson Golden. Here's the pitch. Golden takes up and in from Body. Body now up to 80 pitches here in 3 2/3. But it's actually crazy how Tri-State in last place in the East, giving Body a tougher time than Burlington did. Burlington tied for first place. Here's the pitch. Golden takes a strike at the knees. I mentioned it last night, how any team in the Appy League, and this goes for any level of baseball, it's not just the Appy League, but any team can beat any other team on any given night. Despite what the numbers may tell you, baseball is not played on paper. Here's the 1-1 to Golden. Downstairs, Body missed with the slider. Figure this will definitely be his last inning, facing Tri-State's order for the 3rd time already. If he can retire Golden, he would end the inning, but Tri-State has already done a lot of damage, scoring 4 times. Here's the 2-1. Golden takes low and in. You can tell Body laboring out there on the mound now. Up to 83 pitches in 3 2/3. 6 of 8 Tri-State batters have hit safely as time is called by the home plate umpire, James Chestnut, and he called a pitch clock violation on the batter, Jackson Golden. So the count is now 3 2. Golden thought the pitch clock violation was on Body. He flipped his bat toward the dugout, thought it was ball 4. Instead, it's strike 2, as Chestnut said that Golden was not ready to hit in time. So now a full count, 2 outs. Soler from first and Winsett from second will run on the pitch. Body looking to stop the bleeding here. Here's the payoff. Swung on and hit softly on the ground to shortstop. Patton fields, shuffles his feet, and throws on to first to retire Golden and end the inning. Tri-State, though, sends 9 to the plate, and 4 of them score. 6 of them hit safely. As we go to the bottom of the 4th inning, the Colecats lead Greenville 6-3 on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Welcome back to Pioneer Park. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Tri-State leading Greenville 6-3. The Colecats go to their bullpen, calling upon Reynaldo Castro, a right-hander out of La Romana in the Dominican Republic. He'll face the upper third of this Greenville order. Reed Hare stepping in from the left side. Takes a changeup outside from Castro. Hare reached both times and came around to score on both occasions, facing Bryant Yoke, whose day ends after 3 innings. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Hare. He swings through an off-speed pitch, and it's 1-1. Castro replacing Yoke, who allowed 3 runs on 4 hits, walked 5 and struck out 4. He threw 75 pitches in 3 innings. Here's the 1-1. Hare takes in the dirt. The Flyboys looking to answer after the Colecats sent 9 to the plate in the top of this 4th inning. 6 of them hit safely. Here's the 2-1 from Castro to Reed Hare. And Hare swings through a fastball right down Main Street. And it's 2-2. Entering the twilight hours here at Pioneer Park, you can see overhead there are clouds as far as the eye can see, so the floodlights doing most of the heavy lifting. 2-2 as Castro comes back. And Hare takes inside. Right-hander tried a breaking ball, but the count runs full. Hare will be followed by Danny Wallace and Ezra McNaughton. And that's the part of the order you want for the Flyboys as they look to even this game up. Castro on for the 5th time this season for the Colecats. Full count on Hare. Here's the pitch. Hare takes up and away, and that's ball 4. Hare continuing to be an on-base machine at the top of this Flyboys order. 2 walks and a base hit for him tonight. Danny Wallace stepping in. Flyboys right fielder. 0 for 1 with a walk and a stolen base.
Danny Wallace.
You're hoping that Wallace can reach and give Ezra McNaughton a chance to hit with 2 runners on and nobody out. A situation where Castro would have to pitch to him. Wallace, the high school product out of Nebraska. Not Nevada. The pitch. Wallace squares to bunt, takes downstairs. I was thinking about Nevada because the Flyboys have a lot of players from Thousand Oaks High School in California. And California and Nevada, of course, are next door neighbors. But Wallace from the state of Nebraska. Here's the 1-0 pitch. It hits him on the shoulder, and he'll take 90 feet the hard way. Castro missed with the fastball there. And here is Ezra McNaughton's chance with 2 on and nobody out. Flyboys trailing 6-3 in the bottom of the 4th. And before McNaughton steps in, Tri-State pitching coach Salomon Torres comes back out. This time he's talking to Castro. But the Flyboys looking to respond after the Colecats put up a crooked number in the 4th inning. Tri-State has struggled to string wins together this season, but proving to be a tough out for Greenville. And the Flyboys winning each of the first 4 meetings this season between the 2 teams. It's difficult to beat any team 5 times in a row. That's just the way baseball works. Torres now headed back to the 3rd base dugout. This is the situation you look for when you're Ezra McNaughton in this spot. With the power that he has, I think everybody in this ballpark knows that he could tie this game with 1 swing. The front runner in many people's minds for Appy League Player of the Year. Leading the league in on-base, slugging, home runs, 2nd in RBIs. And oh, by the way, 6th in batting average and 10th in stolen bases, too. So everywhere you look, he's been great at the plate this season. Castro looks at 2nd and delivers. McNaughton takes an outside strike. Castro took something off of that one, and it's 0-1. McNaughton, a line out and a walk in 2 trips facing Yoke. Now another right-hander tasked with retiring him here. 0-1 on McNaughton. And the pitch. Breaking ball that misses well outside. Castro has a couple different off-speed pitches that he's shown. That was a curveball, but the pitch before was a slider that doesn't really move laterally, but it drops. It's a unique pitch. Here's the 1-1. McNaughton swings and misses at an outside fastball. You can see his head flying off of that one. Sometimes that's what it looks like when a hitter swings out of his shoes, which means he swings really hard and just does not keep the fundamentals nailed down. So now 1-2, Castro looking for a big out. Here's the pitch. McNaughton takes up and outside. Non-competitive fastball there from Castro. Wallace was hit by a pitch. He's at first base. Reed Hare was walked. He's at second. Nobody away. Flyboys trailing 6-3 in the bottom of the fourth. You're hoping McNaughton can spoil enough pitches to where he gets something he can drive. Here's the 2-2. McNaughton chases a high fastball, and he's gone. You don't see him chase pitches like that very often. Tried to go up the ladder to get that 86-mile-per-hour fastball. But that was about shoulder high, and there's not a whole lot you can do trying to hit that pitch. So Castro records a big first out right there. Now first and second with one away for Cameron Kim. He's got good power as well. Hit a 3-run homer earlier this week. It was less than 7 days ago. It was last weekend. First pitch. Before that, an inside move, but nobody's covering second. So Reed Hare jogs back in there standing up. You'd imagine with the right-handed hitter in the box that holding the base runner, or at least keeping him honest, is the responsibility of Sam Winsett, the second baseman. Castro is set. Here's the pitch to Kim. Misses low. Castro, 14 pitches, just 5 strikes so far. Flyboys looking to draw even. This will be the only 9-inning game they play against Tri-State here at Pioneer Park. Here's the 1-0. Kim takes inside. Neither pitching staff having a good time with the strike zone here in this game. Kyle Body, I think, was too close to the plate for a lot of his pitches. 84 of them overall, 51 for strikes. 2-0 on Kim. Here's the pitch. Kim fouls it straight back. That fastball got in on his hands there. There's a cloud that has parked itself behind the batter's eye, and there are some flashes of lightning going off. Kind of looks like the lightning we had last night, where there are sheets and little bursts that look like the flash bulb of a camera. Here's the 2-1. Kim fouls it away toward the first base side. Flyboys have not gotten many good swings off against Tri-State here this evening, which is interesting because the Colecats as a team have not been very successful pitching on the road. Their road ERA, bottom 3 in the league at 6.5. See if Kim can draw us even, if he can drive one out of here. Here's the 2-2, a spin and another bluff back to second. But again, nobody's home. So 2-2 on Kim. Wallace at first and Hare at second. Castro comes set at the letters. And the pitch. Kim hits a sinking line drive to right. Cesar Gonzalez barely has to move. Makes the catch and retires Kim for the second out of the inning. Flyboys had first and second, nobody out. Now first and second, 2 out for Jace Patton. He singled his last time up.
For the Flyboys, number 25, Jace Patton.
But Greenville looking to capitalize on some scoring chances here. They've stranded 2 base runners in each of the first 3 innings, have the Flyboys. Which, when it comes to the identity of a team that is looking to make a push at an Appy League title for the second time in as many years to get back to the championship game, you've got to be able to hit with men on base. Flyboys have not done a good job of that so far. Let's see if Patton can change it up here. Castro is set, and the pitch. Patton takes a strike. An off-speed pitch on the high outside corner. Elsewhere around the Appy League, Johnson City has opened up a 6-1 lead on Danville. They're in the top of the 6th in Johnson City. Here's the 0-1 from Castro. Low and away. Missed with the breaking ball. Burlington leading Elizabethton 7-3. The River Riders looking to avoid falling 6 games out of first place. It would be 6.5 if Kingsport can hold on against Pulaski. The Axemen up 2-0 in the bottom of the 5th. Here's the 1-1. Patton gets clipped on the arm, and that'll load the bases. Tried to spin out of the way there, but you could hear that pitch clip him on the front arm. He's okay, though. He's plunked for the second time tonight. That's the second hit by pitch of the inning from Ronaldo Castro. No hits in this frame for Greenville. A walk and a pair of hit by pitches. But the bases are loaded for Dylan Jackson. Flyboys trailing 6-3 with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th. Colcats reliever Ronaldo Castro looking to get out of serious trouble. Jackson had an RBI double back in the 1st, and now time called as the shortstop Julio Soler comes jogging toward the mound. He wants to talk to Ronaldo Castro, making the motion with his hands. I think he might be telling Castro to go from the windup, but saying something to Castro here to make sure that he is calmed down and has his best stuff as he tries to retire Dylan Jackson. Greenville with the bases loaded here. Dylan Jackson looking to show off his power once again. He homered yesterday against Tri-State. That was during the day. The twilight over Pioneer Park. Let's see if he can hit one into the night sky. Here's the pitch. Jackson takes a breaking ball in the dirt. Jackson Golden knocks it down. Jackson entering this game, hitting .261 on the season. On base, .381, which again, the league-wide on-base percentage here in the Appy League is .392. So Jackson actually slightly below league average. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Jackson hits a soft liner toward first and foul. He caught that one just off the end of the bat. You can see him looking at the end cap. That ball spun toward the warning track and foul territory. So 1-1 on Jackson. The lightning in the clouds beyond center field generating some buzz here in the press box. It's directly above the batter's eye, and you can tell there's no thunder. I don't know if it's heat lightning or if there's a thunderstorm far enough away. I can't tell. But whatever it is lighting up the sky, and I'm sure it's causing problems perhaps for the hitters. 1-1 on Jackson. Patton at first, Wallace at second, and Reed Hare at third. Greenville trailing 6-3. Castro's set. And here's the pitch. Jackson takes a strike. Fastball with the knees in the middle part of the plate, and it's 1-2. Castro so far this season, 6 2/3, 10 earned runs, 9 hits, 7 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Looking to get into and out of trouble here. The 1-2 to Jackson. Fastball swung on and missed, and that's the inning. Flyboys leave them loaded. They've left 9 in the first 4 innings. And as we go to the 5th, Greenville trails Tri-State 6-3 on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Flyboys go to the bullpen as we begin the top of inning number 5 here at Pioneer Park. Tri-State leading Greenville 6-3. And it's Hunter Sloop, the right-hander, on in place of Kyle Body. Body's day is done after 4 innings. He gave up 6 runs on 8 hits and struck out 5. Tri-State swinging it well here at Pioneer Park this evening. The same 3 men who began last inning will start the 5th. It's Cesar Gonzalez, Ryan Maggie, and Chandler Murray. 7 of 9 Tri-State hitters have already reached safely. The Colcats out-hitting the Flyboys 8-4. All 8 of their hits are singles. Sloop, the tallest man on this Flyboys roster, standing at 6'8", 235 pounds. A native of Concord, North Carolina. Spent this past season at UNC Charlotte. First pitch to Cesar Gonzalez is a breaking ball for a strike from Sloop. Sloop joined the Flyboys mid-season. Pitched in just 1 game. Got 2 outs while allowing 3 runs. Here's the 0-1. Gonzalez takes low. Sloop began his collegiate career at Tennessee. Did not see any action with the Vols or this past season at UNC Charlotte. Last season with the Flyboys, he had a 7.8 ERA in 31 innings pitched. Base runners were a problem for him. See if he can keep Tri-State scoreless as we approach the halfway point of this game. Sloop the wind, and time is called by the home plate umpire. Sloop was beginning his motion there, and James Chestnut said, hey, hold on a second. Not sure why, but he was pointing at the mound. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball that misses up and in. The Flyboys really can't afford to lose a game against a team like Tri-State. This is a team that is not in contention in the East whatsoever. 7 games back with 12 left in the season. So barring a miracle, Tri-State's not sniffing postseason play. Gonzalez takes a low inside strike, leaning backwards. You can tell with the body language he didn't like the call, but it's 2-2. The Flyboys need to take care of business against a team like Tri-State. Here's the 2-2. Gonzalez fouls it back. But the one thing I've noticed so far in this game tonight is that Tri-State not getting great swings, but at the same time finding the outfield one way or another, whether it's a hard ground ball through the hole, a little flare down the line, stuff like that. The Coalcats are making it work in their favor. Doesn't matter how you do it, it just matters that you score. And they've been able to do so very successfully. 2-2 on Gonzalez, and time called at home plate. A defensive substitution. Micah Jordan is now in left field, replacing Grant Hunter. Not sure about the reason for that substitution, but Jordan now out there in left. 2-2 on Gonzalez. Here's the pitch. Hit in the air toward left field. Jordan sprinting over, has a beat on it, and makes the catch, jogging toward the foul line. That's out number 1 here in the top of the 5th. Flyboys trailing Tri-State 6-3. Bases empty, 1 gone in the top of inning number 5. And the batter is Ryan Maggie. Mentioned that Maggie is the lone left-handed batter in this Tri-State order. Sloop delivers the first pitch. Maggie hits it off the end of the bat. Another chance for Micah Jordan, and he makes the catch. 2 outs on consecutive pitches for Hunter Sloop. And now Chandler Murray digging in, facing Sloop for the first time. But I think, when I think of guys who could have played basketball, I think about Hunter Sloop because he's 6 feet 8 inches tall. I know Indiana was having some trouble filling out its roster. First pitch to Murray, misses inside from Sloop. He's up to 92 with the heater to start his outing. But I wonder if baseball didn't work out for Hunter Sloop, if he ever considered basketball. The 1-0 to Murray is a strike. A fastball right down Main Street at 92. Flyboys and Coalcats on pace here for about a 4-hour game. Here's the 1-1. Well outside and low. But we did not quite get through 9 innings yesterday. It's kind of weird the way the league sets up the rule with respect to doubleheaders, because a continuation, yesterday was considered a doubleheader, even though with the conclusion of the suspended game, Murray takes a breaking ball that misses behind his head, and it's 3-1. With the 7-inning game being called after less than 3.5 innings, and us playing 4.5 to conclude the suspended game, we didn't even play 9 innings. Here's the 3-1. Murray takes a strike at the knees, and the count is full. But by rule, that's counted as a doubleheader. So we were not able to finish yesterday's canceled game today and then play another 7-inning game to end the series. Here's the 3-2. Murray hits a line drive to right. Danny Wallace has a beat on it, makes a running catch coming toward the infield, and that's the inning. A 1-2-3 top of the fifth for Hunter Sloop. See if the Flyboys can break into this 3-run deficit. At the halfway point, Tri-State leads Greenville 6-3 on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Bottom of the fifth inning here at Pioneer Park, where Tri-State leads Greenville 6-3. Micah Jordan gets his first at-bat of the evening. New right-hander Jacob Thompson into the game. Misses downstairs, and the count is 1-0. Jordan entered as a defensive replacement for Grant Hunter in left field in the last half inning. Here's the 1-0 to Jordan, lifted in the air, foul to the right side. Not sure why. I don't know that Hunter was injured or anything of that nature, but Jordan now taking over. It'll be the bottom third of the Flyboys order due up here. Jordan followed by Brady Francisco and Peyton Miller. 1-1. Thompson gets the sign and delivers. Jordan takes a strike on the low inside corner from the righty. Thompson, a native of Peachtree City, Georgia. Spent a couple seasons at Gordon State Junior College. Here's the 1-2. Jordan takes inside. But Thompson, another one of the guys in the Appy League, there aren't very many of them, who were born in 2003. Thompson born March 18th, which would make him an old man by Appy League standards. The 2-2, a high chopper to the left side. It's past the shortstop Julio Soler into left field. And Micah Jordan has a leadoff single to start the bottom of the fifth. Brady Francisco stepping in now. And the Flyboys offensively have left a lot to be desired in this game. Greenville has left 9 runners on base in the first 4 innings, including leaving the bases loaded last inning. I wonder if Micah Jordan thinks about stealing here. Coming off the bench, maybe trying to provide a spark for the Flyboys here. Thompson in some early trouble. Here's the pitch. Francisco takes low and outside. Jordan, for most of this season, was the league leader in stolen bases. He has 16 so far. A throw over to first. Quick tag from Chandler Murray. I think Tri-State thought that Jordan was picked off there. That was a close play. Any pressure that Greenville can put on the Tri-State defense would be a plus. The 1-0. Francisco takes in the dirt, and it's 2-0. When you look at the league's stolen base leaders this season, Colin Larson stands alone with 17. Jordan tied for second. Julio Soler and Sal Mineo also up there, both of them with Tri-State. Here's the 2-0. Francisco takes a low strike. Looked like it was below the knees, but it's 2-1. Lucas Buckner of Pulaski also with 16 stolen bases. Mineo has 15. Kind of surprised we haven't seen him in either of these games. He's still listed on the Tri-State roster. Another pickoff move to first, and Jordan dives back in. See if Francisco can drive one into the outfield here. Thompson set. And the 2-1. Francisco fouls it back to the screen. The Flyboys have not gotten many good swings off tonight at all. Greenville being out-hit convincingly. Tri-State with 8 hits to the Flyboys 5. Only one of the combined 13 hits has gone for extra bases. It was Dylan Jackson's double back in the first. Runner goes. The 2-2 swung on and missed. Throw to second is a good one. The tag is in time, and it's a strike him out, throw him out, double play. No. He was called out initially, was Micah Jordan, but the ball deflected out of the glove of Sam Winsett after he applied the tag. So Jordan is safe at second base. There was a great throw by Jackson Golden. but the tag was not applied cleanly, with the ball deflecting into shallow center field. So Francisco is gone on strikes, but Jordan swipes second on the play. First strikeout for Thompson. Now the batter is Peyton Miller. Jordan takes off for third. The pitch low, throw down to third. Jordan dives in safely. Micah Jordan just stole his way from first to third. And the play at second was actually closer than that one at third base. Jordan opted to go head first instead of feet first that time. Heads up base running by him. He got a great jump off of second there. So now the Flyboys threatening here. 1-0 on Miller, and the pitch. Miller squares to bunt, but pulls back. It's a strike anyway.
Either bunt or pull the ball, they stop back that.
Flyboys playing small ball. That's something that they've tried to do more lately, especially with Peyton Miller at the plate. He had a couple bunt singles against Kingsport earlier on this week. 1-1. Miller hits a high chopper over the head of the third baseman, Ryan Maggie, into left field. Micah Jordan trots home safely. Maggie was in on the grass anticipating Miller to bunt again, but Miller swung away, and that high chopper got over his head into left field. Flyboys inch closer. Tri-State now leading 6-4 with Miller aboard for the top of the order. Here's Reed Hare. And Micah Jordan now once again leads the Appy League. He's got 18 stolen bases. So Colin Larson, your move. Thompson is set. Here's the pitch. Hare takes high and outside. And that's what Micah Jordan's speed can do. Whenever he gets on base, even if it's just a single with the wheels, he can turn that into a double or a triple. Here's the 1-0. Hare takes outside. And this is the part of the order that Greenville is looking for to do some damage here. The 2-0 on the way to Reed Hare. Nope, before that, a pickoff move to first. Miller dives back in without a tag. Miller, not a very adventurous base runner. 4 stolen bases this season. We're in game number 35 of 46. The 2-0 is hit in the air, slicing foul to the left side. This ball drops on the warning track in foul territory. Hare tried to go down and get that 2-0 fastball just below the knees. Jordan, the base runner at first, or excuse me, Peyton Miller, the runner at first, driving in Micah Jordan with the RBI single. Here's the 2-1. Hare hits another foul ball towards third. This ball fades out of play. But for Peyton Miller, that's his 16th RBI of the season. And you look at the scoring throughout the Appy League. Tri-State has already eclipsed its average in runs per game. Tri-State with 6. The season average 5.8. 2-2 on Reed Hare. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball in there at the knees for strike 3. It was a backdoor breaker from Thompson. Hare couldn't get the bat off his shoulder, and he's gone.
Number 71, Danny Wallace.
Here's Danny Wallace. Wallace has reached twice in 3 trips, a hit by pitch and a walk for him. Flyboys trailing 6-4 with 2 gone in the bottom of the 5th. Miller over at first base. Wallace looking to make some waves for the Flyboys. Here's the pitch. He takes upstairs. But Thompson pitching for Tri-State. This is his debut for the Coalcats. Here's the 1-0. Wallace takes low and inside. The right-hander is set. Miller off of first. A long pause and the 2-0. swing and a miss. Fastball on the outside part of the plate there. Wallace a little bit out in front. You're hoping Wallace can reach and give Ezra McNaughton another chance. McNaughton is hitless so far in this game. 2-1. Here's the pitch. Wallace hits a bouncer to the right side. Winsett flips to second, but it gets away. Miller's headed toward third, and he gets there without a play. Sam Winsett tried a backhand flip, and that ball was offline. Julio Soler, the shortstop, was covering second base. He went to his left. The ball went to his right. Winsett had to wait on that one. I'm honestly surprised he didn't just try to go to first. May have had a better chance of getting the out there. Instead, he tried to get the force play at second. Miller was hustling in. I don't even know that a good throw would have gotten him. So now Ezra McNaughton gets a chance, representing the go-ahead run. Here's the pitch. McNaughton fouls it back. That should be scored a throwing error on Winsett. That is Tri-State's third error in less than 5 full innings tonight. Colecats have the second worst fielding percentage in the league. Another error with 2 outs in the inning as well. 0-1 on McNaughton. Here it comes. He takes it, gets through the legs of the catcher. Here comes Peyton Miller, and he scores without a throw. So the error moves him to third, and the wild pitch brings him home. Flyboys are back to within a run. It's 6-5. Tri-State giving up a lot of free bases in this game. The 2-out error in the first is what gave Dylan Jackson a chance to pick up an RBI double. Wallace, the tying run, is now at second. Thompson comes home with the 1-1 pitch. And here it comes. McNaughton fouls it away, and it's 1-2. McNaughton's due to put a charge into another one. He lined out back in the first. Struck out on a high fastball his last time up. See if he can send one into the night sky here in Greenville to give the Flyboys the lead. Thompson is set. A look at second. And the 1-2. A breaking ball taken for strike 3. That was a hanging breaker from Thompson. No argument from McNaughton, and that ends the inning. After 5, Tri-State continues to flirt with fire. The Colecats still leading Greenville 6-5 as we go to the 6th on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Top of inning number 6 here at Pioneer Park, where Tri-State leads Greenville 6-5. Demir Heidelberg steps in against Hunter Sloop, right on right. And here's the pitch from Sloop. Heidelberg fouls it back. Flyboys got a couple runs back in the bottom of the 5th. An RBI single from Peyton Miller, and then a wild pitch to score Miller after a throwing error moved him up to third. 0-1 on Heidelberg, the pitch. A line drive toward left center field. This ball is down in front of Micah Jordan. And Demir Heidelberg continues to cause problems for Flyboys pitching. He's got 3 hits over the last 2 days here at Pioneer Park. And Xavier Rivera stepping to the plate. We've got some lightning strikes beyond right field again. I don't think it started to rain, actually. I saw some fans walking up, but it doesn't look like there's any precipitation. But we had lightning strikes exactly like that last night, about 20 minutes before the skies opened up. Xavier Rivera steps in. A pickoff move to first. The throw skips in on a hop. Dylan Jackson thought that they had Heidelberg picked off, but Denias Johnson says he's safe. In his opinion, is the only one that matters. Rivera had an RBI single back in the 4th when Tri-State sent 9 to the plate and scored 4 times. Here's the pitch. Rivera fouls it straight back. I think I could have caught that one if the screen and the window weren't in my way. The lightning beyond right field. Said it before, but it looks like you're driving by the paparazzi, or you're walking down the red carpet and you see all the flash bulbs going off. Or you're racing Formula 1 cars around Monaco and the sun is reflecting off the harbor. and the harbor is more entertaining than the actual race because Formula One cars are so big now that they really can't race around Monaco anymore. That race is being moved out of its traditional Sunday morning time slot on the same day as the Indianapolis 500, which, as a racing fan from Indianapolis, I'm very disappointed by. 0-1 on Rivera. Here's the pitch. Runner goes. It's a strike. Throw down to second. The tag from Miller is not in time. It was a short hop from Francisco. Miller shrugging his shoulders, looking at Denias Johnson, saying, how is he not out? The throw beat him, but it looks like Miller, after he fielded the short hop, had to regather to apply the tag, and at that point, Heidelberg was already into second base. But if Miller is objecting and he's the closest one to the play, then maybe it was a closer play than I thought. 0-2 on Rivera. Here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled back. Sloop jammed him on an off-speed pitch. Man at first, nobody out in the top of the sixth. Tri-State leading Greenville 6-5. Flyboys looking for win number 20, which I think everybody thought would come a lot sooner than the back half of July. Here's the 0-2. Rivera takes up and away. Fastball at 92 from Sloop, but it was on the outside chalk. Greenville started red hot, 14-6 at the end of June, and 4-9 in July entering tonight. Here's the 1-2. Rivera fouls it back again. What's interesting, too, is that the Flyboys have played half of those games at home. Well, I guess one less than half. It'll be half after tonight, because it'll be 7 out of 14 games as opposed to 6 out of 13. But the Flyboys 1-5 at home this month. They haven't won here at Pioneer Park in 2 weeks. Now there's an asterisk to that. Here's the 1-2. Rivera strikes out swinging. Sloop got him on an off-speed pitch there. His first strikeout. The Flyboys won the suspended game here yesterday. That game began at Tri-State in June. So it goes in the books as a road win at Tri-State in the month of June because that is when the game started. Flyboys led that game 5-2 and ended up winning 15-7. Sam Winsett, the Delaware Blue Hen, is having a very good night at the plate. 2 RBI singles in 2 trips. He's got 3 RBIs. Sloop misses inside. And I guess it goes to show that even a broken clock is right twice a day. Winsett was hitting 161 before tonight. Sloop falling behind him. He sets at the belt. A peek at second, and the 1-0. Winsett takes a low strike from Sloop. On this day in baseball history, July 18th, 1882, Louisville's Tony Milan, without wearing a fielder's glove, becomes the first major leaguer to throw left and right-handed in the same game. 1-1 on Winsett. Here's the pitch. A half swing at a breaking ball. An ugly swing there from Winsett, and it's 1-2. Milan was pitching for the Louisville Eclipse, facing the Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore won the game 9-8. Here's the 1-2. Winsett hits a high bouncer to the left side. Cameron Kim charges, looks the runner back, and makes a strong throw across the diamond to retire Winsett for the second out. Man at second, 2 gone in the top of the 6th. Tri-State leading Greenville 6-5. Flyboys manager Jack Wilson going out to talk to Hunter Sloop. He asked the home plate umpire for time pretty quickly after that out was recorded. Does not look like this will be a pitching change, I don't think. I think Wilson is talking over some defensive assignments with the Flyboys infield. Now you think about a switch pitcher, someone who throws left and right-handed. One of the first that comes to mind for me is Pat Venditti. Venditti, who made headlines because he made it to the majors with the Oakland Athletics, and a newspaper writer called him an amphibious pitcher. The word he was looking for was ambidextrous, but he called Venditti an amphibious pitcher who made his major league debut.
Now batting number 46, James Henshin.
Henshin coming to the plate now. He struck out both times he faced Kyle Body, looking for something better here against Hunter Sloop. Heidelberg at second base, representing the leadoff single. He swiped second. See if Henshin can pick up his first hit in a Tri-State uniform. Here's the pitch. Swinging a line drive into the netting above the first base dugout. Another switch pitcher, more recent, that comes to mind is Jurangelo Saintja, who was drafted by the Mariners this year. A switch pitcher who can reach 90 miles per hour from both sides. The 0-1 misses low and away to Henshin. Played his college ball at Mississippi State in Starkville, Mississippi. And made headlines. And it's always funny when MLB fans discover these college baseball stars who we've known about for years. Here's the 1-1. Henshin spins out of the way of a fastball, and it's 2-1. But, for example, when people around major league circles called Devin Taylor a steal, yeah, where have you been for the last 3 years? One of the best hitters in the Big Ten over that time span. Here's the 2-1. Runner goes, the pitch is inside. Off-balance throw from Francisco is late. And Heidelberg swipes third. That pitch was in the dirt. Francisco picked it, got to his feet, but stumbled to his right, making that throw across his body. Cameron Kim snared it on a short hop, but Heidelberg steals his third base in the last 2 games. And time called by the home plate umpire saying, hey, let's get the pitch clock working. But when college baseball fans, or excuse me, when Major League Baseball fans discovered Jurangelo Saintja, that was a fun piece of baseball lore. Here's a slow roller to first. Dylan Jackson fields and takes it to the bag himself to end the top of the 6th. Hunter Sloop strands the leadoff single. And as we go to the home half of the 6th inning, Tri-State leads Greenville 6-5 on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Bottom of the 6th inning here at Pioneer Park, where Tri-State leads Greenville 6-5. Right-hander Jacob Thompson allowed a couple runs in his first inning of relief. He'll face Cameron Kim, Jace Patton, and Dylan Jackson, looking for things to go a little bit more smoothly here. Kim takes low and in, and the count is 1-0 on the Flyboys cleanup man. Kim at third base tonight. 1 for 3 with a run scored, as Thompson is back on the rubber. And here's the pitch. Kim gets jammed, fouls it off at home plate. Talked about how the wind is rarely a factor here at Pioneer Park. It feels like deja vu, because this is exactly what happened last night. After the skies got dark, the wind started really picking up and howling out toward left field right before thunderstorms hit. And, well, the wind is howling out toward left field, and some of the Flyboys staff are getting ready to pull the tarp. Kim swings and misses, and it's 1-2. And if you look at radar, there's a thunderstorm that's about to park itself right over us. There's a massive lightning strike beyond left field, and that's going to put us in a weather delay, I believe. Home plate umpire James Chestnut just called time, and he's, yep, there it is. Yeah, there's a thunderstorm that's about to hit us, and I don't know. Chestnut is, are we going to keep playing? Okay. There was a massive lightning strike, and you could hear the thunder beyond left field. If the Flyboys want to score, they better do it quickly. That's all I'm going to say. Because this game is not going to go on for much longer. There's a thunderstorm moving in. Flyboys need to score, because this game is past the halfway point. Kim takes in the dirt, and it's 2-2. He's got 3 home runs this season. Now would be a great time for number 4. So the count now 2-2 on Kim. Thompson winds and deals. And the pitch is chopped up the middle. Soler, the shortstop, deep in the hole, throws on the run to get Kim. That's a great defensive play by Julio Soler. I've been really impressed with his work at shortstop, especially here tonight. He fields his position very well. That was a play that took him onto the shallow center field grass, and he made it look easy. Now, the thunderstorms are rolling in. This is bad news for the Flyboys because this game is past the halfway point. If inclement weather hits and we are not able to restart it, this game can be called. We're in the bottom of the 6th with Tri-State leading 6-5. Jace Patton takes downstairs. Patton has been hit by a pitch twice tonight. Also a base hit for him. But if this game is called, if this game goes into a weather delay, it does not have to be restarted. Patton hits a high fly ball toward deep left field. That ball is off the base of the wall. Patton sprinting towards second, and the Flyboys have the tying run aboard with one away as Jace Patton picks up a one-out double. Dylan Jackson stepping in now. I don't know how much longer we have before this thunderstorm hits us. Again, a few minutes ago, there was a massive lightning bolt beyond the left field flagpole. And that was the type of lightning strike that you see in movies or animations. You could see the bolt and hear the thunder. Dylan Jackson homered yesterday. Now would be a great time for him to do it again. Here's the pitch. Jackson pops it foul behind home plate. But if you look at radar, there is a thunderstorm moving directly towards us. There's another lightning strike. That was a very pronounced bolt beyond the left field scoreboard. Jackson waiting. And here's the 0-1. Patton takes a strike at the knees. That thunder was pretty audible here at Pioneer Park. The league got rid of the lightning rule, which is that any lightning within 8 miles of the field is an automatic 30-minute delay. Now it's up to the umpires to decide when to delay the game. 0-2 on Jackson. Look at second and the pitch. Jackson hits a foul ball towards the first base side. He just got a piece of that pitch. But that happened a couple weeks back. And as we look elsewhere around the Appy League, there's another lightning strike beyond right field. None of the other games have been affected by weather. Bluefield falls to a last place team for the 3rd consecutive night, losing to Bristol 9-4. The 0-2 to Jackson, hit on the ground to the left side. Maggie looks the runner back. The throw to first is high and it gets away. Patton is being waved home. Here's the throw from Murray. He won't make one. And this game is tied at 6. That is the 4th error of the game for Tri-State. Ryan Maggie, the third baseman, cut that one off. I thought he was actually going to have a chance to get Jace Patton between second and third. He bluffed a throw, and then while running, threw towards first. That throw pulled Murray way off the bag. It ricocheted off the brick wall in foul territory. I thought maybe Murray would have a chance to throw home, but Patton scored standing up because Murray could not get a grip on the ball. Micah Jordan hits with the go-ahead run at second and one away. Here's the pitch. Jordan hits a foul ball toward the third base side. So credit Dylan Jackson with reaching on an error. I don't really know that you'd credit him with that, but he's the beneficiary of poor defense from Tri-State. That is Tri-State's 61st error in 35 games. Jordan hits a weak grounder to the left side. Here's another chance for Maggie. Jordan hustling up the line. The throw there is, I thought he was safe. That is a very questionable call by Denias Johnson. Jordan ended up in shallow right field, and Jack Wilson is appealing to Denias Johnson there. Micah Jordan was sprinting up the line. It looked like he was safe at first base, and now the umpires are going to talk about it. Tyke Redmond, the first base coach, also argued that he was safe, but Jordan's out. I don't like that call. I think it's the wrong call. And we have cameras here at Pioneer Park. They don't have video review, but if they did, Jordan would probably be safe. Man at second, 2 out for Brady Francisco. We're tied at 6 in the bottom of the 6th with thunderstorms in the area. Here's the pitch. Francisco takes inside. Francisco's been good in RBI opportunities. He usually finds a way to at least get on base. Let's hope he can do so here. The 1-0. Francisco hits a soft liner to right. Gonzalez sprinting in. He can't make the play. Here comes Dylan Jackson to the plate. The throw is offline, and the Flyboys take the lead. Brady Francisco delivers again. A 2-out single, and Greenville leads 7-6. Francisco got just enough of that one to dunk it into shallow right field. Dylan Jackson was sprinting home. He was off on contact, and Greenville has stormed back from down 6-3 to take a 7-6 lead. Francisco gets credit for his 13th RBI of the season. The defensive miscues giving Greenville extra chances, and the Flyboys cash in. Peyton Miller stepping to the plate now. Here's the pitch. Miller takes low and in. But a great job there by Francisco of just putting the ball in play. Sometimes that's all you need to do. Jacob Thompson looking to stop the damage. Here's the 1-0. Miller gets clipped on the shoulder, and he'll take 90 feet the hard way. Another hit by pitch allowed by Tri-State. Jace Patton's gotten hit a couple times in this game. Danny Wallace got hit, and now he'll step into the on-deck circle as Reed Hare comes to the plate. Greenville leading 7-6. First and second, 2 gone in the bottom of inning number 6. And again, with thunderstorms in the area, this game is official. And if those storms hit, the game can be called. So the comeback by the Flyboys is huge. They've scored twice in this inning to take a 7-6 lead. Here's the pitch to Hare. Misses up and away. Jacob Thompson, a victim of circumstance here. Tri-State not helping out its pitchers at all. The Coalcats have committed 4 errors here tonight. Here's the 1-0. Hare with a big swing and a miss on a fastball. The Lightning becoming more frequent, mostly beyond the right field wall. Flyboys staff are ready to put the tarp on the field. They're sitting there in foul territory. Here's the 1-1. Hare fouls it away, and it's 1-2. James Chestnut elected to keep this game going. With the Flyboys trailing, they would have needed a chance to finish out the inning at least, and they've certainly made the most of it. 1-2 on Hare. Here's the pitch. Swing and a foul back to the screen. Kingsport will remain in first place. The Axemen 3 outs away from mercy ruling Pulaski, leading 12-0 in the 7th. You want to talk about an emphatic victory. 1-2 on Hare. Here it comes. Hare takes up and away. More lightning from beyond right field. That heater missing from Thompson. And it's 2-2. Miller at first base. Francisco at second. Francisco there after his clutch RBI single to give the Flyboys the lead. Couple looks at second. The 2-2. Breaking ball in there for strike 3. That pitch was low and off the plate, but Thompson got the call. Striking out Francisco, looking for the second time in as many innings. Flyboys, though, do the job they needed to do, and as we go to the top of inning number 7 with weather in the area, Greenville has taken a 7-6 lead over Tri-State on the Flyboys Baseball Network. Top of the 7th here at Pioneer Park. Greenville has taken a 7-6 lead over Tri-State. Evan Kay on the mound facing the upper third of this Coalcats lineup. Julio Soler takes outside. The lightning continues to rage here in Greenville. And you can hear that thunder rumbling. Evan Kay looking to get, whoa, that was a massive lightning strike as Soler takes inside. That was, I don't know how safe continuing to play this game is. I understand and the home plate umpire, James Chestnut, just made the call. Yeah, they're going to put the tarp on the field. I think that's the right call here. There are storms in the area, and there was a massive lightning strike from beyond left field. Flyboys general manager Brandon Bouchard talking to the home plate umpire. Now, Tri-State manager Tommy Gregg comes out of the dugout as the lightning continues to rage. He's saying, come on, we just played the 6th inning, and there's lightning. And I understand where he's coming from. He's not happy, because the Flyboys took a 7-6 lead. It was 6-5 Tri-State before the bottom of the 6th. Lightning was in the area, and we continued to play. The Flyboys took a 7-6 lead, and then now 2 pitches into the top of the 7th, James Chestnut calls for the delay. I understand Tommy Gregg's frustration, and you think, well, you're the Flyboys broadcaster, you can be a homer. But I think that his frustration is very justified, because his team surrendered the lead, and the weather becomes a little bit more pronounced, but it had still been in the area for a while. And there was some argument that the game could have been delayed in the 6th inning with Tri-State leading, but that is not what ended up happening. Back here at Pioneer Park, as was expected, the Flyboys win this game 7-6 in 6 innings due to unplayable field conditions. This game has been declared official. Greenville wins 7-6, scoring twice in the bottom of the 6th inning to go from down 6-5 to up 7-6. And that is all from Pioneer Park here tonight. The Flyboys improve to 20-15 on the season. The winning swing of the bat, an RBI single from Brady Francisco. And as we go into the weekend, there might be more weather, so we will keep you posted on that. But as we go into the weekend, Greenville 20-15 on the season, hosting the first place Burlington Sock Puppets here at Pioneer Park. We'll be back here at 6:45 tomorrow for a 2-game set against Burlington. Those teams split the first 2 games in Sockville last weekend. See if the Flyboys can win 3 of 4 for the season series and set themselves up for the final 2 weeks of the regular season campaign. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation of Greenville Flyboys Baseball. Your final once again, Flyboys 7, Colcats 6.